Am I the a-hole for not returning the business I inherited from my late father-in-law after I got divorced? My late father-in-law passed away more than a decade ago. He owned a small but respected car shop, and I started working for him when I was just 15. I'd always loved working with my hands and was obsessed with engines, tools, and anything automotive. He noticed my dedication early on, took me under his wing, and taught me everything he knew. That shop is actually how I met my now ex-wife, his daughter, since I spent so much time around their family growing up. He had 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters. All of them pursued professional careers, lawyers and doctors, and not a single one of them had any interest in the shop. I was the only one besides him who knew the business, cared about it, or ever put in the work. So when he became too sick to keep running it and eventually decided to retire, he passed the business down to me. He told me he trusted me, that I loved the shop the way he did, and that I'd keep it alive. His kids didn't object at the time. Everyone knew they had their own careers, and none of them wanted to take over. He passed away later that year, and since then, I've run the shop and grown it into something bigger than either of us imagined. Then a few years ago, everything changed. My wife cheated on me with another doctor she worked with. Since we live in an at-fault state and I had solid proof of her cheating, the divorce settlement was heavily in my favor. I kept the house, most of the money, and because she's infertile, there was no issue of child support. No alimony either. Our marriage ended and I tried to move on. Now, suddenly, she and her entire family are demanding that I give back the business. They argue that because I'm no longer part of their family, I have no right to keep their father's legacy. They've gone from demanding to practically begging, insisting it belongs to them. But when the transition happened, everything was done legally. The paperwork is rock solid. More importantly, for over a decade I've poured my time, sweat, and literal blood into that shop. I expanded it, modernized it, and kept it alive when no one else cared. To me, it's not just my father-in-law's legacy anymore, it's mine too. And I don't plan on giving it up until I retire. So, am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. Her dad started it. You took over and it's been yours since, not theirs. Don't ever give up your shop to them. It's your legacy, not anyone else's. Her dad picked you when none of them even wanted the shop. They don't get to repossess your career because she blew up the marriage. Especially since he's grown the business. You know, that is the only reason why they want the business back, is because he's probably making a nice profit now. That's what greedy people do. Didn't want to have anything to do with the business. Went on to live their best lives. Now and all of a sudden it's dad's legacy and they want it back? Looks to me that they want to sell to somebody else at a profit. Under no circumstances are you to even think about giving this business back to them. Don't even acknowledge their request. If you must, get a cease and desist order from your lawyer. This is just totally asinine. Not the a-hole. I am a petty individual when I'm wronged, so your story makes me pretty happy. That's how I feel. You should send a text to the whole family and tell them the one they should be mad at is their sister. And maybe if she wasn't a cheater, the business would still be a part of their family. Or you can offer to sell it back to them at 2 times the value. When they ask why so high, you can tell them you applied a cheater tax. Not the a-hole. He gave it to you, not just because you were his son-in-law, but because you were the one to most likely take care of it. What are they going to do with it? None of them knows anything about car more than checking fluids, and my ex-brothers-in-law have too many back issues now to even change a tire. Hell no! Forget these scumbags and their sudden care for legacy. They just want to hurt your livelihood and sell the damn thing. If father-in-law was still around, I have a strong suspicion that he would still want you to run the business he built that you have diligently continued. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I will lose respect for her if she doesn't apologize? Plus update. My wife and I have 3 kids. Thursday, my wife was helping our 9-year-old with her homework. She was supposed to fill in a chart with the times tables. That was a hectic day. Our 4-year-old threw up, and I was trying to clean him up, and my wife was having trouble getting our 9-year-old to focus on what she was doing because she kept looking at me. Our 9-year-old hates math and is pretty bad at it, which annoys my wife, who is usually fantastic at math. My wife asked our daughter what 7 times 7 was. Our daughter said she didn't know. My wife kept telling her to try to think of any answer. She kept saying she didn't know. My wife was getting frustrated. Our daughter finally guessed 37. My wife said, "Close, 47." Our 13-year-old then said, "No, Mom, it's 49." My wife snapped at that point and told him to shut up and go upstairs. He went into the backyard instead. She took a deep breath and then went into our room. I finished with our 4-year-old and then went outside. I tried to talk to him, but he didn't want to listen. He kept saying, "But Dad, 7 times 7 is 49. I told him his mom just got frustrated and didn't mean to yell at him. He kept insisting that 7 times 7 is 49, which I am aware of, so I got nowhere. I went back inside to talk to my wife. She said she knew she shouldn't have yelled. She said she was frustrated because he was distracting her, and that's why she made the mistake. I pointed out that she made the mistake before he said anything. She started crying and asked why I was being so critical. I apologized and told her I loved her. We hugged it out, but then I asked her if she was going to go and apologize to our 13-year-old. She said no, because he shouldn't have interrupted her. She said he was rude and needed to learn not to interrupt. I told her it's not okay to tell him to shut up. We went back and forth, and finally I said I won't be able to respect her as much if she doesn't apologize. That really hurt her. She said she needed space. She hasn't said a word to me or him since Thursday. I know that what I said is harsh, but I can't respect someone who won't apologize when they make a mistake. Am I the a-hole? My sister says I am because I'm not being supportive, and our 13-year-old is a lot. A lot of people forget that adults aren't always right and children aren't always wrong. She needs to apologize for snapping at your child. I told her that, but she said it has nothing to do with a math problem, and that it's about his bad habit of interrupting. I think that since he was trying and succeeding really to be helpful, that doesn't count as interrupting. He didn't interrupt. He offered a correction which his sibling actually needed. Your wife was wrong, would have made your kids work wrong, and your 13-year-old was actually being helpful. Is your son really a lot? Or is he just dismissed so often he finds other ways of getting attention? I mean, this is a very small glimpse into your family dynamics, but this story just made me feel badly for your kid. He kept saying it's 49 because he's right and wanted it acknowledged. All your wife had to say was, "Oh, oops, you're right," and use that as a lesson to help your 9-year-old learn it's okay to be wrong, and that even when you're good at something, you can still make a mistake. The fact that your wife has iced out her husband and son over multiplication is frankly embarrassing and juvenile. A lot is vague and kind of unfair. I used that phrase only because my sister did. He's 13. He never wants to come inside when we tell him to. He always wants to take the dog on a walk or ride his bike, even if the sun is down, which we don't allow. He frequently wants to practice his recorder when we've told him it's quiet time. These are behaviors we are working on, but they do seem to be getting to my wife. As for the interrupting, it is an issue. It's an issue we are working on. I don't think it justifies snapping. It should be an ongoing conversation. I also don't feel like this counts as interrupting because he was trying to be helpful, not derail the topic. She hasn't spoken to her son in 3 days and she was in the wrong? Ouch. Honestly, I'd just tell my 13-year-old that 7 times 7 is 49, and Mom got mad because she got it wrong. So childish to not apologize. I did try to explain that, but he didn't get it. For him, it's all about the math problem. The fact that he got it right is all he can focus on. His mom's frustration doesn't factor in for him. Now for the update. My wife got up before our alarm and started cleaning our bathroom. I started the laundry and made breakfast. She didn't say a word when she sat down to eat. She ate much faster than normal. She stood up, picked up our 4-year-old, and told our 9-year-old to get ready because they were going to the library. She didn't say anything to our 13-year-old. I told her we need to talk, and she shook her head. I followed her upstairs and insisted that we need to talk. She just kept shaking her head. She went into our 4-year-old's room and locked the door. I went downstairs and told our 13 and 9-year-old that we are going to the dog park. They both asked if Mom was okay, and I said yes and that she needed space. I grabbed some clothes for our 9-year-old from the laundry room, and she got changed in the downstairs bathroom. We are at the dog park, and my wife is refusing to answer my texts. I'm starting to think this isn't about math. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not realizing how much help my pregnant sibling needed? Plus update. I, 40 female, have a sister, 38 female, who is 7 months into her second pregnancy. She is married and also has another child who is 3. Recently, some extended family reached out about wanting to get together, and we were supposed to go to a restaurant for dinner. My sibling asked me about switching it to her house, since it would be easier for her. We decided we would order food so she didn't have to cook, and briefly threw out some ideas. A few days before, my sibling made a passive comment that she would be cooking because it would be too expensive to cater, and I said I was confused because we were all going to contribute. She still insisted on cooking, so I rolled with it and we sorted out what I would bring. We chatted about other stuff up until the day before dinner. Everything was fine. The day of dinner, I called my sibling 2 hours before the scheduled time so I could let her know I was heading over a little early to help. I got my butt handed to me. My pregnant sibling had been spending all day cleaning and preparing, while I thought I was going to just show up an hour before. She said they only agreed to lend me their house to host. I swear this was never said, and that I should have been there hours ago helping out. I started to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. If you needed me there earlier, all you had to do was ask," and got screamed at that I should have known and that everyone was saying how wrong it was for me to throw this dinner on the pregnant woman, and that I looked like a real a-hole to the family as she hung up on me. A subsequent phone call to my mom ended with an angry, "She's pregnant and you're upsetting her," justification without any opportunity to hear my side. I'm sure there is an element of hormones at play, but I don't think it's fair that I'm automatically wrong in the a-hole because someone is pregnant. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. So, your sibling moved the location of the meal because it would be easier for her, and is now making a fuss because of all the work involved? Your sister made a series of decisions that created this situation, and at no point said anything or reached out for help. This is all on her. You are not a mind reader. You could not know. And at every turn, you offered solutions that would have made things easier. Your sister needs to get over herself. Not the a-hole. Call everyone immediately and say, "Hey, this is overwhelming for sis, so let's move it back to the restaurant." She doesn't get to demand it be done at her place, demand to cook, and then turn into an utter nightmare because she can't do what she demanded to do. This is the way. I'm in a similar situation to you, OP. My sister is a mom to 3 while I don't have any children. There have been so many times over the years where she uses her mom card to dictate and demand things, and in her eyes, no matter what I do, I'm always wrong because she's a mom and I'm not. Some days is absolutely wild, and even our family's blown away by how fast she'll 180 on us, using her role as a mom as her go-to excuse. Basically set the precedent now instead of letting her get away with this behavior. From my experience, these actions will only get worse over time. It happens a lot with us too, and I can't believe it. I've listened to her vent many times about her in-laws, our family, whoever and whatever. Even if I'm busy, I make the time. Then, when it's my turn, she is always too busy and plays the, "You're not a mom, so you don't get it." She's right. I'm not a mom and can't possibly fully understand her struggle. But that doesn't make me any less intelligent or important. Now for the update. I ended up calling my extended family and saying that it was too much for my sister with her pregnancy for all of us to be at her house, and that we needed to cancel or move the location. My extended family then called my sister, who told them she was sorry but dinner was canceled. Dinner didn't happen. I agree with some comments that my sister thought she could handle it, and then got overwhelmed. I suspect her husband wasn't being much help, so she got on his case, and he may have turned around and said, "I thought you were planning this with your sister. Why isn't she here helping?" to get her off his case, which set her off on me. When I said, "Why haven't you called to ask where I am if you felt I should be there already? Why are you waiting until I call you?" She told me it was common sense and courtesy, that I should have known she would need help, that this was my plan with our extended family, and she was being kind enough to lend her house. I pointed out it was her idea to move locations and was told, irregardless. Mom will not fight with my sister because she's afraid of losing access to the grandchildren. I'm upset and embarrassed at the dysfunction, and I know I'm not going to get an apology. My sister will just avoid me and then want to act like nothing happened, as per her MO. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not being happy that my brother-in-law and his girlfriend are finally pregnant after how they treated me and my child? When I was 22, my husband was 36. I got pregnant and announced it at a family party. My brother-in-law and his girlfriend were 23 and 25 at the time. The reaction to our news was flat. People just said things like, "Oh, thought you looked a bit big," and moved on. Later, I found out my brother-in-law and his girlfriend told everyone that I had said, "We got pregnant before you, haha." I never said that. At the time, they had suffered a miscarriage and couldn't get pregnant again, so their lie really hurt me. After that, they completely cut us off. They refused to celebrate Christmas with us, ignored us, didn't visit when my son was born, skipped his name-giving party, and never acknowledged him. Once, my brother-in-law was supposed to pick up baby things for my sister-in-law. They were neighbors, and bring them to us. But he said he'd rather stay home gaming. They bought presents for all the other kids in the family, except mine. Fast forward to today, 14 years later, they are finally pregnant. My husband expects me to be happy for them. I told him no, I'm not. They don't mean anything to me. They ignored my child for his entire life and spread lies about me. Why should I celebrate them now? My husband compared my reaction to wishing them dead, which I never said. All I said is that I don't care about them. So, am I the a-hole for not being happy about their pregnancy after how they treated me and my son? Info for clarifications. We've had minimal contact with the family over the years. My son is autistic and has not understood that he was badly treated by them, which in some ways has spared him from the hurt I've felt. My brother-in-law and his girlfriend told everyone that I had said, "We got pregnant before you, haha." My husband compared my reaction to wishing them dead. Does this nonsense run in his family? Because it seems like it does. When a 36-year-old gets a 22-year-old pregnant, I'm not sure quite how mature you expect him to be honest. Later you found out that your brother-in-law and his girlfriend said XYZ, but how did you find that out? Did your husband tell you? Or did you get multiple people telling you the same thing? And why didn't your husband stand up for you in that situation? That is his job, to defend his wife when she's being attacked and treated like crap. Not even gonna get into the problematic issue with the age gap here, because you were already married and pregnant at 22. So you had to have been even younger when you two first started dating, and that makes it even more icky than it normally would be. Age gaps aren't such a big deal when both people have some real-life experience and can make better decisions and mature judgment calls. People in their early 20s are not there yet. That applies to any gender, not just women for the record. The way he is talking to you about his brother and sister-in-law being pregnant now is setting off alarm bells for me just from that short bit of convo. Stay safe and take care of yourself and your son. Her husband didn't stand up for her because he's the one who spread the lie.